Hello YouTubers and welcome to another episode of the vlogs. We've made it back to Caversham this morning for another row on the lake here, but today we're talking about training intensity and are you training in the right zones? It's very important, just like fueling up, to train in the right zones, to make sure you're hitting the right intensities, to make sure you can step on. But now first things first, we have to get on the water. So let's go.
Hear this moment, don't let me think back, give me what I need. Just wanna forget, don't need time to breathe. Two hearts pumping blood, beating up for fun. Caress my bruises, don't wanna go deep. Do it again and again, babe. No matter if we come clean, tomorrow is soon, we'll be strangers. It's so easy and free in this dark, warm oasis. There is nothing to be
And we've made it outside Caversham once more after the session on the water, getting the intensity right. But before we have a little chat about the intensity, about the correct intensity for training, we have to go fuel up, because remember, food is fuel. So see you back at the club post fueling up. Oh yeah.
It was too late to defend some parts of it.
And we've made it outside of the club. The rain has still yet to stop. Hopefully it doesn't make the river too high, but going to just take this opportunity to talk about training intensity and if you are doing the right intensity for your training. Obviously it depends on your type of program that you're doing, whether it's high volume, high intensity, low intensity, but no matter which program you're doing, the intensity matters. So what I'm talking about when I'm talking about intensity is making sure that when you have a workout that's supposed to be at a certain intensity, that you are doing that certain intensity. But then the question arises of, how do I know if I'm doing the right intensity? And over the past, pretty much this entire season so far, so starting probably in the middle of the summer actually, I've been trying to figure out for me what the best intensity for each workout is. So it's really easy to tell what the proper intensity is for a flat out workout, because you go as hard as you can and that's just the end of story. You just see how far you can push yourself. The difficulty comes when you're trying to work out your intensity for whether it's a middle workout or a low end workout. And so in any program, there's a mix of high intensity, low intensity, middle intensity workouts, and it's up to us really to make sure that we are doing the right intensity in those middle and lower intensity workouts. So how do you figure that out? Well, for me, over the past few months, I've really been depending on my heart rate. Heart rate isn't the be all and end all like I've spoke about, but it gives a really personal story of how you're feeling on that day in that workout at that specific second, because you're getting, if you have a heart rate monitor, whether it's on the rowing machine on the screen or you've got one tied to your watch, you can see your heart rate every single second, and then you can choose, okay, I'm supposed to be doing a low intensity today, so I'm going to keep my heart rate at a low intensity. And then you can start ignoring almost the speed or the scores that you're getting for that low intensity and middle intensity workouts, because you know that you're getting the benefit or training benefit by being in that certain sort of zone or that heart rate zone. The difficulty comes when you are seen to be not trying. Some people go and do low intensity, but they've been told you have to do a certain split. And then it's okay, why do I have to do that certain split? For some people that split might be really easy, so they'll be sticking into that low intensity zone, but for some people that same split could be quite difficult. So then you could run into, okay, well, I have to do that split that I've been told to do, but I'm actually working much harder than that low intensity, pushing myself up to a middle intensity, which then the real problem arises it starts compressing all of the performances. So no longer there's a low, middle, high. Everything becomes sort of in that middle zone. So you're no longer able to push yourself to that ultimate limit, and you're no longer able to sort of try and hit that low intensity zone. Everything's in that middle zone, and you don't get the right training benefit, and you can actually end up feeling, you push the likelihood of being overtrained much faster. And it's not the obvious overtraining symptoms of I'm really tired, or I'm feeling ill all the time, or I'm just struggling to function in the workouts. Overtraining can be much less than that, in the fact of, okay, for example, you could be doing those workouts all in that middle ground and then not stepping on in the high intensity workouts because your body's not able to recover, your body isn't able to get the proper training benefit from all of the different workouts, so you're not able to train your body or get enough energy to work into that high intensity workouts. So for me to get that proper intensity for the workouts, heart rate is huge, and using the level of perceived exertion as well. So I'm going to tell you my heart rate zones and how you might be able to figure out your own heart rate zones as well. So I've done a 2K, I've done multiple 2Ks, multiple 5Ks, multiple half hours where they are flat out workouts, and I can see how high my heart rate goes. So I've hit 200 on those workouts, which means that it isn't my max heart rate, 200, but it is going to be very close. So I use about 200 to 205 for my max heart rate, and that's when you can start to calculate your low intensity and then up through the zones for different workouts. So my low intensity workouts, generally my UT2, I sit between 130 and 140, and that's no matter what. Some days you could go into the gym and it's really hot. You could go into the gym and it's really humid. You could go into the gym and you're feeling really run down. You could go into the gym and you've just done a 2-hour bike ride and you're going into the gym to do a half hour on the erg, just nice and easy, which all of these things can contribute to you going a bit slower or feeling like the same split you usually pull is a bit harder. But then you look at your heart rate and you sit in that same zone. So for me, you sit in that 130 to 140 and you're getting the same training benefit pulling, for example, normally I might go 152s, but on that day when it's really tired, it's really hot, I might see 154s, but my heart rate is in the same zone. So I'm actually getting the same training benefit by going slower. So hopefully that makes sense. I'm getting the same training benefit from getting slower, and that is one of the difficult things for people to get wrap their head around is, how can you go slower but get the same training benefit? And that's when you can see people on the rowing machine, on the track, in the weights room, anything, struggling to push on because they're thinking, I have to be doing big numbers at all times. In reality, you only need to do those big numbers in your test pieces. So there's multiple benefits of finding the right zones for you. Obviously the huge benefits are you're able to step on in all workouts. The other huge benefit is you're giving your body the ability to recover in between sessions or between days where you've got different sessions, because you're no longer pushing the limits in every session. You have some sessions where you are and some sessions where you aren't, and on those sessions where you aren't, you're able to just have a little bit of a chill time, which might feel a lot easier than you might have previously thought. And then obviously making that workout easier but still getting those training benefits means that you're able to have a little bit more energy throughout the day and not digging yourself into a deep hole, and like I said, giving your body that ability or that opportunity to recover that little bit better. So that's two things that are really important to training as a whole. So if you've got a training program, whether it's a weekly one, a monthly one, a yearly one, wherever it is, if you're sticking to the right intensities and you figure out what's your max heart rate, and then you can sort of get your low end zones and high end zones, do some research on what zones apply to what workout, so UT2, UT1, etc., which heart rate works for you. If you can figure that out, you can really step on with all workouts, and then it just gives you that little bit of confidence as well. If you stick to it for a month or two and then go forward and see your scores improving, then you're thinking, okay, I'm going to stick to this more. and then the snowball keeps rolling, and you get better and better and better. Not only does your body get that little bit more time to recover, but also it's a little bit more mentally freeing because you're not absolutely caning it through multiple sessions. You have those workouts where you're saying, okay, I've got 3 workouts this week that I'm going to absolutely end myself in, but the rest of them, you've got time and mental sort of space to do them easily rather than worrying about finishing any workout throughout the week. But hopefully that all makes sense. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions on the matter. I'm really kind of passionate about this subject because I really went through it, and I think that's partly the reason where I fall down, as I get too, or I have been previously, got too caught up in the want to do bigger numbers on the steadier workouts, and then just over time it means that I'm running myself into a hole and just not able to properly get the best out of myself. So hopefully, like I've said before, I'm learning more about my body, and hopefully this helps a little bit with the Yam Squad too, with your workouts, making sure you're in the right intensity. And now it's time for us to go on to the erg and finding the right intensity for us. So it's another step rate erg piece. So we're going to go through, and I'm going to make sure with my heart rate that on each step it's going up in heart rate, but not too high so I've not got a step at the end, and also not too low where I'm not getting the benefit at all. So it's obviously that fine balance between, you don't want to do a workout at 80 beats a minute on the heart rate, but you obviously don't want to do a steady workout at 180 beats a minute. So figuring that out for you, and I'm going to be making more videos relating to sort of heart rate and heart rate zones because I think it is really important. So now it is time to get on the erg.
Just wanna forget, don't need time to breathe. Two hearts pumping blood, beating up for fun. Caress my bruises, don't wanna go deep. Don't let me take back, give me what I need. Just wanna forget, don't need time to breathe. Two hearts pumping blood, beating up for fun. Caress my bruises, don't wanna go deep.
And we've made it outside of the club after fueling up post-session, because remember, after any session you have to fuel up, because remember, food is fuel. But with that session, I spoke about the intensity, or getting the intensity right before the session, and in that session, using my heart rate, I feel like I was able to do so. So the room was especially hot, so we had all of the ergs in use, which meant that my body, or everyone's body, is working just a little bit harder to cool down and to operate at the same intensity that you would usually sit at. So it meant that for me, my heart rate would be that little bit higher, so my splits will be a little bit slower. And by having my heart rate right in front of me, I can see that, okay, I want to have my heart rate for X intensity at Y heart rate, at Y zone. So for me, my UT2, I want it at 130 to 140. And if it's a bit hotter, I still want my heart rate at 130 to 140. I don't want my heart rate, because it's hotter, to be higher than 140. It means that the splits have to be adjusted to keep the heart rate in the same zone. Or at least that's what I'm experimenting with now, and it seems to be working. Like I said, it's given me the opportunity to recover more easily, and giving me the opportunity to work hard in the hard workouts and take it easy on the easier workouts. But that will be it for today's episode, Yam Squad. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Again, let me know in the comments below if you find this type of chat helpful, about really talking about things you can apply to your training. And as always, remember to subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that like button, and I will see you tomorrow for a hump day. Oh yeah!